Hi guys, it's part of the Pinheads and Patriots series. This is part 11, so this is Wednesday morning if you're following the schedule that I've laid out for you. Okay, the next thing we're going to study is, I deleted what I talked about Dr. Warren. Dr. Warren, for all really you need to know is that for right now, is that, because it's kind of complex, is that he died in the Battle of Bunker Hill. He was one of the guys when everybody, remember I told you there was 3 different layers. It's Battle of Bunker Hill, Battle of Breeds Hill is out front. The front part of it's called Battle of Breeds Hill. And he's one of the ones that stayed down at the bottom, even though he had a high rank and he was important. He stayed at the bottom in front of that first little wall and covered people while they retreated to the next redoubt. So you had breastworks, redoubt, and little walls that we were hiding behind to fire. And he kind of stayed there knowing we were out of ammunition and he was going to die. And he was, you know, just a hero. And he was one of the major players in the revolution. And that is why Abigail Adams, from the rooftop looking at what was going on at the Battle of Bunker Hill, she was in a rooftop in Boston with John Quincy Adams as a little boy beside her. She said, "Today, liberty has been dealt a blow." And that's what she wrote to John Adams. So really, all you need to know about Dr. Warren is that he died at the Battle of Bunker Hill. And even though he was an officer, he just was right there in there with his men. So I love that. So that's really all you need to know about Dr. Warren. All right, number 5 on our list is, oh, I just had it a second ago. Oh, I wanted to cover one more thing before we get to it. Captain Parker is the one that said at Lexington Green, I wish I could go back and do that, but there's too much information, I would leave something out. Don't fire unless fired upon, men. If they mean to have a war, let it begin here. So our Captain Parker said, if you want a war, come on, bring it on. But you're going to fire first. We're not going to fire. So it's kind of a standoff because when the Redcoats came up, they said, "Disband, you rebels," and they cursed. And so it wasn't our guy that cursed, it was them that cursed. They called us blank rebels. And disband, go about your business. And we were kind of having a face-off. I'm sorry, I thought it was our guy. When I reviewed it, I went, and matter of fact, I was going to go look it up in a book. And Katie goes, "Mom, just Google it." She Googled it in 2 seconds. I went, oh my goodness. I forget modern technology. I probably could have Googled it while we were talking. So Captain Parker's the one that said, "Don't fire unless fired upon. If they mean to have a war, let it begin here." So they kind of had a standoff. Nothing happened. The Redcoats were saying disband. We weren't disbanding. Finally, we kind of put our guns down. We started to walk away because they weren't firing. And all of a sudden, shot rang out. We think it was an accident. Shot heard around the world. Nobody knows who started it. I mean, who did it. It was on the Redcoat side. And, of course, a lot of our guys died. I think 9 guys died there, but a lot of guys died on Lexington Green. All right, Colonel Prescott. So Captain Parker was the first guy. Colonel Prescott, I always get these two mixed up, was on the Battle of Bunker Hill that you watched in part 10. And I'm sorry, 9 and 10 were just switched. And he's the one that said, "Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes." So you know how close the Englishmen had to get for us to see the whites of their eyes before we had to fire. The reason why, we all had only about 15 shots. So we didn't have any shots to spare. We didn't have any warning shots. So they would get closer and closer and closer and closer until we could fire. But we were hiding behind the walls and the redoubts and the breastworks, so we had some cover. All right, so Colonel Prescott's the one that said, "Don't fire unless till you see the whites of their eyes." Very famous quote. Captain Parker's the one that said, "Don't fire unless fired upon. Men, they mean to have a war, let it begin here." But he wasn't going to be the first to shoot. Okay? Let's see, which one did I write number 5 on? Maybe I skipped number 5. Oh, Battle of Bunker Hill. We've already talked about that. All right, number 6, Molly Pitcher. She was a lady during the Revolution that would go to the battles and would give the men water. And so she got known as Molly Pitcher. She'd be out there right on the battlefield. People are firing. There's wounded men. She would go right up. She would give men water and care to the men. So she got known to be named as Molly Pitcher. There was a lot of women that fought in the war. Matter of fact, one of the guys fell down, like he was doing one of our cannons, and he was shot, and so the cannon was there, and his wife came up and started firing in the cannon. She's like, "I'll take over right here." When her husband got shot, he wasn't killed, but he was shot. So Molly Pitcher is just a woman that helped in the American Revolution. There was lots of women, and she gave water and whatever aid the men needed, but mostly water. There was, there's lots of women that helped in the Revolution. All right, number 7, the Marquis de Lafayette. I think we already talked about him. I don't know why I have him on my list. He came over from France. He wanted to be a hero. He had fought for 5 years in the military, and his dad was a hero, and he came over, and he really became Washington's right-hand man. He didn't have rank, and he was willing to work and not have rank, and just help in whatever way we needed. He really helped when we were in that very, very hard winter where Baron von Steuben came, and so many men died of cold and hunger. It's just a shame to die of hunger. Oh my goodness! And they were making dirt, mud cakes and things like that just to survive. Men died of disease. And the Marquis de Lafayette was there. Washington, of course, was there. Baron von Steuben was trying to whip the men in shape. And then, of course, that's when we have Nathaniel Greene, who got demoted from a general to a quartermaster. And his favorite quote is, "But nobody ever remembers a quartermaster." And here he was, this valiant, awesome right-hand man to General Washington. He had a very small inner circle of right-hand men that were so essential to him. Benedict Arnold was one of those men, which is why it was so hard for him when Benedict Arnold became really bad and, kind of gave one of our forts over and worked for the other side. It really hurt him. But anyway, Nathaniel Greene was one of the guys he demoted to quartermaster. He said, "I really need you." He left to get supplies, and then not long after that, over the hill comes wagon after wagon after wagon of supplies. He had trusted well in Nathaniel Greene. He had sent a general to bring supplies, but how can you fight if you don't have shoes and you don't have basic essentials? You don't have any food. You don't have the basic blankets, things you need. He was awesome. But the Marquis de Lafayette was there. So you just need to put like Frenchman, right-hand man to General Washington, was willing to fight without rank to prove himself, and he wanted to be known. And, of course, he is known. All right, let's see, 7. Thomas Hale is a good one. Thomas Hale is a school teacher, and he was a double. I'm sorry, he wasn't a double. I was thinking of James Armistead. He was a spy. And so he was a school teacher, but he was also a spy. And when they caught him, they hung him from a tree. And when they hung him, his famous last words were, see, you got to understand, the Redcoats and the English were coming over here to fight because that's what they were supposed to do. But they saw such heart in Americans. And so that's why they wrote a lot of things down. That's why we have a lot of records of these things, because they couldn't understand our heart. We were given everything. And so when Thomas Hale, this school teacher, who was not a frontiersman, he was not a guy that was handy with a gun, he was a school teacher. So when they hung him, right before they hung him, he said, "I regret that I have but one life to give for my country." What an awesome quote that is. I regret that I have but one life to give for my country. He said that right before they hung him, and so that's why it's recorded. So his name is Thomas Hale. All right, number 9, Yankee Doodle Dandy. That's what I have on my list. I know we've already talked about this, but you guys know the song, right? Yankee Doodle Dandy. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy, Yankee Doodle do or die. A real life, none of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. That's Yankee Doodle. Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni. Yankee Doodle Dandy. They made fun of us. We took it and sang it when we marched. So they were making fun of us. They thought it was a detriment. It'd be like them making a song about lobster backs. We're the lobster backs. They kind of took it and claimed it. So we would pass them our military, and they would hear us. They would come up singing when we had different battles and stuff, and there we were singing Yankee Doodle Dandy. I love it. All right, so that's why I got a number 9. Number 10, We the People. I told you guys could learn this for a bonus song, and it is Schoolhouse Rock. And as long as you came and sang it in front of the class, I'll extend it for this week too. I will sing it with you. It's very good because it's the opening. It's important. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union. See, I have to sing it to remember it. Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. I got to do the timing. Provide for the common defense. Promote the general welfare and ensure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. That means our kids and our kids' kids. Do ordain and establish this Constitution of United States of America. All right, that is We the People. Look how easy that was. I didn't plan on singing that. Look how easy that was. I remember it from years ago learning that with my kids. All my kids could probably come in here and sing that to you right now in at least 3-part harmony. We've sang it so much. We just divide into parts. It's pitiful. Okay? So I might edit that part out because that's embarrassing. All right, 10:43. So We the People learn that, and we don't have much more. All right? So you guys be filling out your little information. Thanks.